Hi guys, Pax at Bonum. So we are going to continue with our lesson. This time around, our lesson is about, wait, still about conditional statements, but this time around we will be talking about logical operators. There we go. So in an instant, I've changed the name to logical operators. Now, it is a must that you already have mastered the relational statements. You know, the comparison between the comparison between two values and having an answer true or false, because that is the foundation of this lesson. So our learning competencies are to identify logical operators, and then we will again predict the value, but this time around of compound relational statements. And then we will use these compound relational statements in creating a script. So as a motivation, let's answer this. And I've actually provided the answer already. A relational statement is also known as a condition. What is a relational statement? And what I've said earlier, it's a comparison between two values using relational operators, greater than, less than, greater than, equal, less than, equal or not equal. And the answer to that comparison will only be true, either true or false. Now let's determine if this statement is true or false. Now this is using English again as a foundation. Let me read. Jeepney phase out is oppressive and it is counterproductive in enriching the lives of Filipinos. So let me reiterate what I've said previously during the lesson, relational statements. We are only using declarative statements in English so that you will have an easier time understanding the truth values of statements. But later on, we will transition into codes that is answerable by true or false. So if we will analyze this, there are actually two statements in one sentence. We have this one, jeepney phase out is oppressive, and it is counterproductive in enriching the lives of Filipinos. These two statements are combined together using the word and. And if we will look into the truth value of the statements, the first statement is actually true. It might be an opinion, but I honestly believe that the statement is factual. So the first statement is true, and the second statement is also true. Now, how will we be able to know what is the overall truth value of the sentence? Later on, we will answer that question. So, we will be discussing logical operators. This is the follow-up to relational operators. Logical operators are used to combine two or more relational statements, two or more conditions. Now, we use three different logical operators. We have the AND operator, We have the or operator and the not operator. So these symbols are used in programming to combine the the conditions. But actually, only and or are used to combine the conditions. The not symbol or the not operator is only used for one value. And later on we will discuss what it does. So let's consider these English statements. The first statement is the Philippines is in Asia. The second statement, the world is flat. So if we will analyze, Philippines is in Asia and the world is flat. Something is wrong with the statement. The first one is true. However, the second one is false. In an AND operation, the whole statement will only become true if and only if both statements are true. So if we will go back to this one, in an AND operation again, it will only become true if and only if both statements are true. Since one of the statements is false, the whole statement is actually false. Now, using that knowledge, let's go back to the motivation part. The first statement is true. The second statement is true. Since both are true, the whole statement is actually true. Now let's have more drills. Statement A, I write using my eyes. This one is false. The second one is I am human. This is true. Now, what is A and B? What is true and false? Since there is at least one false, the whole statement is false. Now, I am a doctor and I am a pilot. Well, I'm not a doctor, so this one is false. I'm also not a pilot. So there are two falses. False and false will result into false. Another one, I am a student in LSQC. So let's try to answer this. In your own point of view, you are a student, that is true. You are enrolled in LSQC, that is also true. So true and true will result into true. To make it simpler, we can use a truth table. So, this is statement A. This is statement B. Here is statement A and B. So if we have a statement that is true and another statement that is also true, the answer is true. But if at least one statement is false, we have a false here, a false, and two falses. The answer to those are false. So again, going back, the only way for an AND operation, an AND logical operation to become true is if all statements are true. Now let's try this. The first statement is I am awake, and the second statement is I am sleeping. The first one is true, however, the second one is false. We will combine these two statements, but this time around, we will use the OR operator. I am awake or I am sleeping. And the truth value, or the overall truth value to this one is actually true. How come it became true when there is a false statement? In an OR operation, the whole statement is true if at least one statement is true. There is at least one statement that is true, therefore the whole statement became true. Now let's try this. I am in Palawan, that is false. I am in Manila, that is true. What is now A or B? Since at least one statement, B, is true, the whole statement is true. How about this one? I live in a house, that is true. I am reading. Well, yeah, I'm currently reading. I'm reading the text. So this one is also true. So A or B, true or true, at least one is true. So therefore the whole thing is true. I own a helicopter. This one is false. I am a singer. That is also false. So false or false, since no statement is true, the answer is false. Okay? Now, as a shortcut, again, let's use a truth table. If at least one statement is true, the overall truth value for the OR is true. So one statement true, another is true, that is true. The first one is true, second is false. Hey, there's a true statement, so it's true. False or true, there's a true, so it's true. False or false, no true, therefore it is false. Now, the not operator is a bit different. You can only use a not operator signified by an exclamation point. You can only use that in one statement. And the idea is, whatever the truth value of the statement is, when you use a not operator, it negates the truth value, meaning it inverts the truth value. So when a statement like statement A is true, if we add a not operator before before the statement, it will actually become false. So when I say I am a Lordesian, when we negate that, it will become I am not a Lordesian. The same is true with, for example, 1 greater than 2. The answer to that is false, right? But if we negate that, 1 greater than 2, but we will use the operator not, this one is true. So we will, just to show you how it's done, we will get the truth value 1 greater than 2, that is false. So we will still have a not operation. So not F is actually true. Okay, so let's try doing some drills. 1 equals 4, that is false. And then 10 less than 20, that is true. So what is false and true? So since we are using AND, remember in an AND operation, if at least one is false, everything is false. The only way for it to become true is if all of the statements are true. So number 1 is false. Number 2, 2 plus 3 greater than 4. So 5 greater than or that is true. On the right side, 6 greater than 5. This one is true. However, there is a negation, so it will become not true. And not true is equivalent to false. So we will now evaluate true or false. The answer is, remember, or operation, at least one that is true, everything true. True or false is true. So using variables, x is 5, y is 7. X greater than y, is 5 greater than 7? No, that's false. Is 4 less than y? Is 4 less than 7? That's true. False or true? That is true. Last one, x equals y minus 2. X is 5. Y minus 2 is 5. So this one becomes true, but there is still a negation. So we will negate not true is actually false. X less than y, that is true. So false and true, that is false. All right. So let's proceed with your activity. Now you will be creating a login module. You need to insert 2 text boxes. And then you create 2 variables. So you have 2 text boxes, right? In your form. And then you create 2 variables in JavaScript containing the username and password. So use these variables and values I've provided. So you will be declaring var username and it has a value of admin. And then another var for password. Which has a value of 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now you will perform a conditional statement with logical end to compare if the input of the user, the first one and the second one, if those are going to be equal to the username and password variables. Again, you will need to get the values of those 2 text boxes and then compare them to the username and password. So you already have 2 variables here. The inputs will need to be placed on a different variable or on different variables and then compare them to the username and password. If it's a match, display an alert saying it is a match. If it is not a match, display an alert stating an error. Username or password is incorrect. Okay? So do your activity now and then later on we will discuss the answer to this one.